when the previous owner did only partial repairs and you, the new owner, get to make up for it. Let's find out what's wrong with this Yukon XL. Let's get started. This is a 2000 GMC Yukon XL, or also known as a Suburban. It's also in the Chevy world. It's basically the same thing. There's a little bit differences in styling in the interior and the front end, but basically the same vehicle. This customer just had their air conditioner die on them. And when they contacted the previous owner, they just got this thing not too long ago. They said, we went ahead and replaced the AC system up front. I don't know what the problem is. It's all been replaced. It should be good. We're going to show you today how we've been pressing over the last several videos about AC repairs and how you can't cheap out. So before we show you the carnage, which there's some good carnage on this one, let's take a look around this Yukon XL. Here's the front of this Yukon XL. This is the GMT 800 chassis. 99 was the first year for that chassis, and this is a 2000, so it's fairly new in this GMT 800 world. This one has some Firestone destinations on it. Those look to be 16-inch wheels, and I am correct. That was fairly common for 16s in these years. We just did a video on showing what to look for on a GMT 800, the common failures and what it's going to cost. Click the link in the description below. You definitely want to check that out. This one's got some rust going on down here on the rockers. I don't want to touch it, but yeah, you can see that it's starting to eat away down there. It's got a nice pretty blue paint job. I like that color, Mrs. Wizard.
I like blue. It's my favorite color.
You see it is the Yukon XL. On the other side, we can see that the rust isn't so bad on that side, but it is starting. Let's hop under the hood. Here's our 6-liter Vortec, being this is a 3/4 ton Yukon XL. Big boy 6-liter. Looks to be also cast iron block, cast iron heads. Very, very heavy duty. I can see that it's rusty, crusty on the heads. Aluminum wouldn't do that. These are very good engines. Of the Vortec series, the 6-liter is not only bulletproof, but it has a lot of power. It is thirsty for fuel, but not as bad as a big block, so it's really a good happy medium if you're looking for a tow rig to tow something 3,000 to 5,000 pounds, maybe up to 10,000 pounds, and it could tow it very, very easily. We don't have any issues with the engine on this one, but there is a leak coming from the cooling system. Let's take a look at that. You can see the plastic is probably cracked around that cooler line, and it's starting to spray a little bit down the side tank. That's unfortunate. That will need a new radiator. Let's go ahead and take a look at the interior on this Yukon XL.
Okay, ladies and gents, it's got 148,902 miles. And let's go ahead and just turn that key off, because not only is it hungry for fuel, but they like to drain batteries. So looking here, we've got a lot of gauges in our gauge cluster and a very tiny little message screen, which was showing that the battery was illuminated a second ago. You also see that there's a little fuzzy microphone that I have added since this was introduced in 2000. But our dash is in really nice shape. Nothing scratched or crevices or anything going on. Have a little bit of the coating removed right there, and I bet, if they got creative, they could find a match for that on, Amazon. As we move to our center section, they have upgraded the stereo, because that is definitely not a stereo from 2000. You can see they've done a pretty good job matching it, but there's a few little, centimeters there of open space, but it's looking good. Probably is quite functional. We do see that they have some cords running out from, I'm not sure how they connected that back there. The camera doesn't want to go back there and look. So they've got some aux cords going out from that hole that they have attached somewhere deep in that, dash. So we move down, we'll see we've got our cassette player and a nice little spot that just pops up where they've got a nice little puppy in there. We have a nice little cup holder. We've got a spot here that we can hold documents and things here. We've got coins right here. We've got another aux port right here, and then a nice storage spot in that center area. Have a nice recessed area with some kind of bumpies on it that makes it to where if you put something here, it doesn't quite slide so much, and if it does, it has to go up before it actually goes flying into the rest of the dash. The seats, this is pretty much as close as we're getting in the 21st century of nice, comfortable, sofa-like seats. This is a very comfortable leather seat with the armrests that can be raised and lowered. Door card, lots of camel and a little lighter camel and darker camel there, but it's looking good. Nothing is broken, nothing is, falling apart. It's looking nice. As we look at the back seat, we can see that about 30% of it is lowered, but the other two sections are raised. It has a very tall but very slim headrest, but you can kind of see some things that are torn apart back there, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. And there could have been a third row seat back there, but again, remember, this is a really large vehicle. It's built on a truck chassis, so it's almost a different time zone back to that back window. And we look here, we got our very simplistic GMC steering wheel with no extra buttons, nothing like that, because we've got stalks on the side. So enough of this interior talk. Let's get this up in the air and see what's going on.
Before we continue on, I want to take a quick second to remind you guys, if you ever wanted a piece of the Car Wizard shop, Mrs. Wizard uses pieces out of the shop and makes really nice artworks, or we call partworks. She's got an eBay auction going on now with a lot of our really nice pieces for sale. There's a link in the description. You want to go check those out. The auction ends August 20th, 2025. Don't miss out on that really great opportunity. One thing I do like about these, whether it's 3/4 ton or half ton on the GMT 800s, is when you remove these belly pans, there's so much room for activities that you can fix everything on there. It's so easy. Take a look. We currently have the AC belt off. We got the compressor to show you guys some things, but you can get to the main pulley. You can remove the fan shroud and get to the whole front of the motor, the water pump. If you have to drop the differential, just unbolt it. It comes down through here. Our oil pan, if we need to remove it, we do have to remove the differential, but then we unbolt this cross member, which it's not welded, it's bolted on, and everything comes down. It's so easy to work on. Looks like some seepage coming from the case here. Nothing too, it's not like dripping bad, but we'll definitely let the customer know about that. Let's check the bottom side of this radiator. If you look straight up through here, you can see some pink coloration. You can see it there on that connector or that fitting. It's been leaking some antifreeze out. Check out these brakes. They're about 50% remaining. CV boots are good. Another common thing on these that likes to leak is these axle output seals. They like to leak right here on the side of the differential, and the same thing on the other side as well. Luckily this one isn't. Our CV boots are in good shape. Nothing loose there. Sway bar link is intact, and about 40 to 50% remaining on the brakes. So this one is a 4-wheel drive. Here's our transmission, nothing leaking out of it. We go back to our transfer case. There is a little bit of seepage from the tail shaft. Nothing to warrant tearing it down yet or doing any major repairs. It's very small. Drive shaft here is good. And drive shaft here, let's check it out. It's good as well. Here's our heavy-duty exhaust system. It's got 2 cats, one there and one directly above Mrs. Wizard, and a giant muffler. Here's our 3/4 ton rear axle with disc brakes in the rear. Those brakes have like 80% remaining. Check this side as well. Yep, it's good. We do have leaf springs on these older models. Newer trucks usually have coil springs unless they're heavy-duty. This one will be heavy-duty. We do have our GM 14-bolt rear end, very, very heavy-duty rear end. Our shocks are not blown, and there's air in our spare. Very, very good. I don't see anything serious. There's some slight seepages going on, but nothing warranting a big tear down. So let's get this thing back on the ground. So as I just mentioned at the beginning of this video, the AC has just recently died on this customer. They've had this for a little bit, but not too long. The previous owner mentioned that the AC system has been fully replaced except for the back. They couldn't get the expansion valve in the back replaced, but everything else has been replaced, so you don't have to worry about that. I had a feeling, I've seen this many, many times over, and we've talked about it in previous videos we've just done. Most people actually try to cheap out on the AC system, and it backfires really bad. I had a feeling that they just did the AC compressor and nothing else. They didn't flush the lines, they didn't do the condenser, or the expansion valve, or the orifice tube, or the dryer. They didn't do any of it. Let me show you the condenser. This is not a new condenser. Start on the driver's side, you can see the paint is flaking, it's full of bugs. A lot of the fins are dented. That is not a recently new condenser. That one's probably original to the vehicle. That has not been replaced. I can tell you from years of experience, that has not been replaced. This one has rear AC as well, which means, like I just mentioned, it has a rear expansion valve. It's more labor involved. Where most AC systems are $2,000, maybe $2,500 in range, this one's going to approach $3,000 because there's more labor, more parts, a lot going on. We're going to show you back there in a minute. But Danielson's starting to work on this when he pulled the compressor off, and he said some of the bolts were even loose. They came off really easily. Let's take a look at the compressor. So like you just saw, we have a belt loose that goes through the AC compressor. What's a common failure on these GMT 800s is the belt and the tensioner just for the AC compressor to break and throw the belt. So make sure to check that if your AC system stops. Here's our compressor, and I can tell by this sticker here, this little orange sticker, it's very likely a Reman cheap compressor that they got at a parts store. They have replaced that, and Danielson mentioned that these bolts, some of them were not finger loose, but it took very little effort to break them loose. When you pull off a compressor and dump the oil out to see how much was in it, there usually should be 3 or 4 ounces in there. This one had barely a small puddle. Take a look. That's it. And you can see very small pieces of metal debris in it, little flakes. It looks like spray paint, metallic spray paint. When I shine my UV light on it, you can see it glows. It looks like neon green. That's how you can check for leaks on a modern AC system. Wherever the leak is happening in your AC system, it'll also be leaking some of that oil out as well. And you can take your UV black light and shine it around all the lines and the condenser. And if you see glowing green, then you found your leak. Most modern cars come with UV dye in the oil, which is a very handy feature. So we now know the compressor's been replaced. It was a Reman unit. There's metal flakes in that. But wait, there's more. Let's take a look at the orifice tube. So this is kind of screwed on by hand. I'm going to remove this pipe out of the way. These older vehicles don't use an expansion valve up front. They have what's called an orifice tube. It does the same job, the same thing, but built into it is a little screen, and it's a very good telltale sign of when someone's been lying to you. So I'm going to remove it. It should be crystal clear clean. There should be no debris in it. So let's go ahead and remove it. It's inside here. Take my little kiwi pliers. Oh my goodness, guys. Look at that, guys. Looks like someone took some hobby store glitter and dumped it in there. That's all pieces of metal. This isn't from the current compressor. Maybe a few pieces are. This is from the last failure when the previous owner owned it. They didn't even change this thing out. Unlike an expansion valve, which can be $40 or $50, these little orifice tubes are $5. They're pretty cheap. So what's going on with this compressor? What's causing it to fail? Let's go take a look at the compressor again. There's a telltale sign on there. This rubber here has gotten so hot because this compressor turns so hard. I mean, I can turn it, but just barely. And the struggle of turning this compressor has got this clutch so hot it melted the rubber. It's about to come apart. I can almost remove the clutch off of the hub. How did we get to where we're at right now? I'll tell you exactly. From years of experience, I can tell you exactly what happened. 6 months ago, or who knows how long ago, 7, I don't know the exact number. The system failed. They would put only a compressor on, they didn't put an orifice tube, they didn't put anything else on, just the compressor. And it worked for a little while. And what's going on now is this debris, which wasn't flushed out last time, is still running around in the system. Finally got to the new compressor, and it's slowly starting to lock up. It's getting harder and harder and harder to turn. It won't be long if we didn't do this repair, that compressor would have locked up as well and through the belt. So we get to do this all over again, but this time around we're not going to cheap out and just do the compressor. Unfortunately, being its rear AC, we have to do front to rear, all of it. Let's head on to the back of the vehicle. So in a rear HVAC system, when you have a catastrophic failure, guess what? All that debris I just showed you is also back here. A lot of people forget about that. You say, well, it's just a 10-minute job, Car Wizard. No, it's not. Let me show you. Here we have Danielson's got the entire side panel removed on the side of the rear. We have the blower motor removed. We have the HVAC case removed. And then we have to get the evaporator core, which is right here. You can also see there's a heater core. But we're going to remove the evaporator core so we can get to the expansion valve, which is down there below it. Now the front doesn't have an expansion valve like newer vehicles do. It has an orifice tube. But in the back we do have an expansion valve. It's kind of the pipes bolt on or screw onto it, or however you want to say it. But we have to remove that expansion valve. Then we have to flush this evaporator core, all the pipes that are back here, the evaporator core that's in the dash, and all the pipes that are in the engine bay. Let's head on back to the engine bay. And we have to replace the condenser. And we have to replace the receiver dryer. And the compressor. This is quite a lot on this system. Where most cars, like I said, are around the $2,000 range, maybe $2,500. This one's going to be hitting $3,000. So with all the things we just looked at with the AC system, like I just said, it's around $3,000. The customer has mentioned that they'll have to do the radiator at a later date. It's not pouring out. And it doesn't matter how much we think it should be done. If they don't have the money, they don't. There's nothing you can do about that. But we'll be bringing it back to take care of some of the other issues we mentioned, and that'll be at a future date. But the customer did make mention that the AC really has to be done right now because of the people traveling in this vehicle. It's getting really, really hot and it's miserable. He's got to have the AC going again. And I don't blame him. It's really hot here in Kansas lately. But I definitely want to do a video for you guys to remind you, you're out there buying a vehicle. Look for receipts. Say, oh, I had this done and I had that done. Say, show me, bro. Show me the receipts. And if they can't provide receipts of the repairs, or if they do the work themselves, show the receipts of the parts that they bought. Have them take you around the vehicle and show you, there's the part I replaced, there's their part replaced, there's the part. Be careful with that, guys, because they can just completely lie through their teeth to you. Another thing I've talked about in previous videos is that I've learned from doing this business, I've learned a lot about people. And one of the things about people is that we rarely, including me, we rarely remember time frames, how long ago something was. They may say, I did that 6 months ago. And you pull up the receipts and it was 4 years ago. And they're like, wow, I didn't even realize it's that long. I've had so many people bring me cars and say, I just had this done, I just had that done 6 months ago. And we dig in it and find out the information and find out it was 6 years ago. So make sure you get those dates sorted out and clarified with the seller. We did give the customer the option to reach out to the previous owner and see if there's any kind of warranty or if they want to help cover. There's going to be nothing. They're getting nothing. So this entire bill, this current owner gets stuck with it. It's sad. And I was really sad when I pulled out that orifice tube with me and Danielson. We were looking at it and I was like, this guy got ripped off. This is so bad. That's why we do these videos for you guys, to show you this information. These kind of situations are all over the world waiting for you. So we definitely want to give you guys some caution and some good information to help you make good car buying decisions. If you're curious what kind of tools you're going to use to work on this Yukon or that Bentley Continental or Honda Accord, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. A lot of the tools we use in the shop are listed for sale there, and if you purchase any of them, we get a small cut. We really appreciate it. And this week, the shop is really, really full of cars, which means even more videos for you guys. Hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.